This video discusses the meaning of set builder notation. This is a notation that we'll be using throughout the year, particularly in this unit when we talk about domain and range. These are some examples of set builder notation. The set builder notation is a set, so it starts with the curly brackets, as we saw when we were writing our domain and range. Then what we have is the variable itself. So in this set, we're calling all of these numbers x. This line is read such that, and then we tell what x is or what x can be. So this first one in orange, or in red, sorry, would be read all x such that x is equal to 1, 2, 3, or 4, which means that x can be anything 1, 2, 3, or 4. This second one in green would be read all y such that y is greater than 3. So y can be anything greater than 3. This one in purple says all z such that z is a member of the real numbers, which means z can be anything as long as it is a real number. For example, let's say I was going to list the domain and range of this relation in set builder notation. Here's what that would look like. For domain, I would have my curly brackets, and I would write all x, since domain is our x value or our input value, all x such that x is equal to 2, 4, or 0. So we're saying all the x's such that x is 2, 4, or 0. These are the only 3 values that x can have. For our range, we would start with all y, since range is y, such that y is equal to -1, 6, or 7. Those are the 3 values that y can take. If we think back to our unit on solving equations, we had 3 different possible outcomes. One outcome when you're solving an equation is that you get a value for x, just one solution, like x equals -1. If that was your solution, then in set builder notation, we would write this. The solution is all x such that x equals -1. So x had to be -1. That was the only option. Another possibility was that you could get all real numbers. And some of you were already writing set builder notation, which looks like this. We would start with our curly bracket, then all x such that x is a member of the real numbers. So this is how we could write our answer to an all real numbers problem. And then the third possibility was that there was no solution at all. If there's no solution at all, this is what the set notation looks like. This is called the empty set. There's nothing in it, which means there is no solution. X can't be any number. All right, so let me show you again a couple examples of set builder notation. Let's say, for example, x can be anything bigger than 5. So it can't be 5, but it could be 5.1, or 5.5, or 6, or 10, or 22.5. Anything bigger than 5. That would look like this. All x such that x is greater than 5. On the second one, we have y. Y can be anything between -2 and 5. Now this is tricky and something you probably haven't seen before. We're going to start by saying all y such that. Now what we have to write is we have to write what's called a compound inequality. So the least number that y can be is -2. So I'm going to start with -2. And the greatest number that y can be is 5. So I'm going to put a 5 over here. And y has to be between those two. So y can be anything between -2 and 5. So -2 is less than y, and y is less than 5. This here is the set notation that would say all y such that y is between -2 and 5. Okay, so if you want to pause the video at this point, you can try these three and see if you can write the set notation for each of these statements. Then when you press play again, I'll show you how it would be done. Okay, so hopefully you tried that on your own. So now let me show you what the answers would be. X is less than 2 would be curly bracket X such that X is less than 2. X is any real number would be X such that X is a member of the real numbers. For X is 7, that's very limited, it can only be one thing. We would write X such that X equals 7. And for the last one, this is the hardest kind when it's between two numbers. It's going to take some getting used to. It says X is between 5 and 10. So we would do curly bracket X such that 5 is less than X is less than 10. X is anything between 5 and 10. Thank you for watching. To YouTube.